Hi, and welcome to another episode of How Much Would You Hate Me If I Actually Turned My White Truck into an Ecto Vehicle? In
In
5D.
5D. Five dimensions could not contain how much I would hate you.
Oh my god, you're going beyond the Greek gods, which are just probably fourth dimensional beings. Can you tell I'm high? Oh man. Okay, so first off, we were gonna record at Comic Con and then other things happened. Um, like the fact that
Like life.
Well, I was gonna say the fact that Comic Con took precedent and we stayed for the late show. We watched Attack of the Show though. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Or at least the Comic Con taping of it. I will say that I've changed my mind on them because again,
Okay.
I'd only ever seen Attack of the Show with you, and only in bits and pieces. Usually never a whole thing. Until we took the trip together over to Helsinki,
Finland.
right?
Finland.
I don't know. I gave the city. It's easy to
Yes,
remember.
you did. Yeah, there you go.
So, I watched a couple episodes, but it was the new show, not quite the old show, which I've only ever seen like clips and highlights of. So, I changed my mind. Before it was like, they're okay. I get it where they're coming from, but it's just, it felt very disjointed. So, like, it felt like a rougher Mad TV, but with nerd stuff, right? Like they went through
Okay.
segments and bits and this and that. What I liked about the live show is that it really allowed them to flow. Things felt a lot more natural, a lot more spontaneous, and it worked, right?
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. So that was I'm starting with one of my highlights for Comic Con. It was actually that panel.
Nice. Yeah. And I think we've told the story on
A
this
lot,
podcast
but it's
before,
okay.
but yeah. The first year we ever went, I was supposed to go to the Attack of the Show panel where they were actually doing a live episode. And we missed it due to newbiness, not understanding how the con works. So
Explain it
it
to
was
the other noobs who I've never been to Comic Con, like our
um
privileged assholes.
so at Comic-Con, rooms don't do what they call room clearing. Some conventions do. San Diego does not. What that is when a panel is done, either they kick everybody out of the room at the end of each panel or they don't. Comic-Con does not. So if there's something you really want to see, often you have to sit in that room before you want to see it. Maybe watch a show or two before that, before you get to the one you want, because people will just camp out in rooms all day if it's a popular enough room.
And you won't get in.
You will not get in, yeah. We've waited in line for a couple of hours and missed the shows that we wanted to see before.
Yeah.
So
It's heartbreaking because it's usually by a very short amount when you've waited that long.
oh yeah.
It's like, dude, if I would have left like 10, 15 minutes earlier, I probably would have made it in. Super
Right.
frustrating. So, years ago, when he wasn't able to make it, wasn't it like right before they got canceled?
Yeah, probably
Like,
only a year or so before they got canceled.
so they didn't come back, and he never had the chance, and it's just been one of those things that eats away at his soul. Kind of
Yeah.
how I feel about not seeing a Daft Punk concert before they broke up. I'm hoping their revival, if they do come back, I can score some tickets to that. Anyways, moving on,
impossible.
Comic-Con.
So how'd you do this year?
I got everything except one thing that I wanted.
Tell me about it.
So I, it's not a secret. I'm a comic nerd in the weirdest way. I'm a nerd about some very specific comics, and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily like Batman. Everyone expects for me it to be Batman. I like the Batman animated shows. I liked mostly the TV media because it's what I was first exposed to for that character. I'm a big nerd for that. I like the figurines. It's a cool motif. It's a cool concept. I love it. But I was never a Batman comics guy. I read a bunch of them, like the big events, the Crises, and all that, because that was available at the library. Couldn't really afford to buy comics. So, anyways, I'm a nerd about some very specific things. My original foray into comics was actually through Spawn. And I came into it at like fucking Spawn 80.
Tell me you're a '90s kid without telling me you're a '90s
Right,
kid.
exactly. And I came in at like maybe in the 50s at this point, right? Because I had no idea what the fuck it was. I bought it because of this really cool image I had seen in one of those Wizard magazines back when
Love
that was a
Wizard
thing.
magazine.
Well, it had a big front page image of Redeemer Spawn, and also not a secret, I really like Angel lore. I think it's cool, and blame my upbringing / indoctrination. However, it was a picture of Redeemer Spawn, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is really cool looking." So I asked the lady at my local comic shop, and she turned me on to Spawn. So it was kind of really the first time for a comic. Before, I was mostly doing like Pokemon cards, right?
Right.
Because I'd been exposed to that and Pokemon in general. So I got into Spawn comics because I was getting a little older. They were darker, a little edgier, right? It totally fucking clicked. Had angels fighting demons and shit. It was like it was made for me. God damn it. However, here I am, fucking a shit ton of years later, and I've never gotten a signature from McFarlane. So that's like I'm missing it. I have I have a signature on all my Hellboy comics from Mignola. I say that wrong every time. But I go to his booth. I've got a signed T-shirt. Like that's another one of those comics I really nerd over. And I've got a couple other signatures, but never Todd McFarlane. And this year, fucking the Image booth was doing a compendium of like the first full volume 1 and volume 2 of the new compendium in a hardcover, and they're signed by McFarlane. I didn't realize there was gonna be like fucking I think it was like 125 of them or some shit like that. And I thought
Total or per day?
that's the problem. They didn't specify. Seems like it was total.
Jeez.
So I was in line. I showed up early, and I could see the checkout place because you know how it was a square booth, and you turn the corner. I'd already turned that little fucking corner, and they put the sold out sign on top of the fucking thing. So I
Take that.
I had a.
Did anybody else get out of the line at the same time you did?
I don't know. I was seeing fucking red, and I didn't want to hurt myself or anyone else. So I proceeded very quickly to the nearest exit and text you, "Where are you? I can meet up," or some shit like that. Yeah, so that's the only thing I didn't get. The thing I'm going to be pining for. Just like a couple years back, there was a Ghostbusters themed Transformer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Optimus Prime. Oh my god, it was a Comic-Con exclusive. But unless you'll damn near sleep there overnight, you're not going to get what I have coined the Hasbro boys. You're not going to get past them.
Yeah,
Every year.
the Hasbro boys are brutal.
Every year, there's a set of folks that just mob the Hasbro exclusives and do all that shit. And like, we've shown up the earliest. I think we showed up at 7 a.m. and there were already a bunch of them because you recognize them. They have really big tote bags because these toys are fucking gigantic.
Yeah,
they're worse than the fucking Gundam folks.
For real.
Honestly. And so we showed up 7 a.m. where we thought we were going to Hall H at 7 a.m. Amateurs. But a bunch of them were camped out with fucking thermoses of coffee and tents and shit. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not getting it. I still tried for it. Nah, that motherfucker sold out. I was going to have a hard time getting that one home, but I didn't fucking care because I was both a fan of Ghostbusters a lot and Transformers. Less than a lot, but still. Anyways, yeah, that's that. This is chalked up to one of those failures now. What about you? How did you do? I know you bought more shit than I did, but like, how much of it was stuff that you're actually going to treasure? I would say.
I mean, look, I very much treasure my comics. During the pandemic, when we were having all the
complete it.
I need you to refine that statement more because, of course, I'm buying it to complete it.
What I'm saying is, like, what I have found is that sometimes I don't really like a series, but I want to finish the collection, so I'll get the rest of them.
No, we have started purging series that we don't like. There's
Oh,
been a few
okay.
series where we're like, we have this, we're not into it, get rid of it.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That that makes sense. I guess since
Yeah.
I don't collect that much, I don't really need to purge very often.
I mean, can I say that everything on like and usually if I'm holding on to something that I don't love, it's because it's only like a volume. But no, if it's a series, we will drop a series if it's just not very good and we're not into it. And yet still here we are. I haven't done a new count. I'm pretty sure we've broken 700. We've officially there is no more room on my comic shelf once these get put away.
Yeah, and this is trade paperbacks, not
yes.
single issues.
Right. But once all the ones from Comic Con are put away, there won't be any more room, and that's not counting the stack of stuff that like I haven't read at all yet.
So, not to get weird on you, but what the hell's gonna happen to all of our shit when we die?
I mean, I don't have kids, so like probably a trash heap.
Maybe I'll donate my shit to a library or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways,
Private collector? I don't know.
Okay,
that sounds
so
like my living family's problem. That's what you get for living longer than me, sucker.
haha, take that. So I saw you buy a lot of comics. Did you get a chance to pick up some new series? Anything you're excited about?
Did I? You know, I would literally have to get up and. Oh yeah, no, I know one. I picked up Metal Shark Bro from Scout
Okay.
Comics.
Fair
I
enough.
haven't read it yet, but I've been loosely aware of it as a series for a while, and I've been wanting to try it. So I picked up that. I've usually at cons, what I find, especially for booths like Image, Dark Horse, Aftershock, a lot of times, you're not actually saving money buying their books at a
No.
booth. They're just charging what you would pay at a comic shop now. It is really good for the company because they don't have to sell it to a comic distributor first. It's they're getting the direct, they're getting the direct feed of all of that. So that much is nice. But these days, I would actually rather support my local shop when I can. So a lot of what I'm buying at Comic-Con is indie stuff that I'm really not going to find anywhere else, or back issues. And what I bought a lot of this year was back issues, though weirdly, not for really any of the series that I was aiming to buy back issues for. It is all stuff I need to complete collections, but there was a couple of key ones that I was like, these are really what I'm hunting for. Did not find really any.
Oh man, that's unfortunate because so I'm slightly different. I definitely whore out not for active comics. I do the same. I like to go either locally when I can because
you support the local shop when you can.
But what I do get is the exclusives, and honestly, the one I'm most excited to read. I know it's dumb, but there's a Godzilla Power Rangers crossover that I bought. I'm so excited to read that. I just haven't made up my mind if I want to open it because it was an exclusive, or if I want to leave it in mint condition and just I don't know how I'm gonna read it. Maybe someone will pirate it.
Here's what I will say. If you're really that sensitive about it, read it with gloves.
True.
But in my opinion, comics are meant to be read. And let's talk about the new thing that you had never noticed had been there for years, probably because you're just not into the scene.
So I noticed it. I just didn't realize it was a thing. I just thought that collectors did that so that they could sell it for money. That's
so
all.
let's talk
I didn't
about
realize
it.
it was a whole industry.
Eduardo, in your new fledgling acquirer of knowledge in this field, tell me about slating.
So it now that I understand it, I guess it sounds like you have these companies who have decided to artificially inflate the value of said collectibles, so that they could make the most money. They and auction houses and things like that. For example, I thought what it was is, hey, I'm a dude that really likes this comic. I'm gonna go to these agencies to have it rated and slated for me so that I can then put it on an auction. So I thought it was more of a service that they did. And, along the way, they pick up some stuff to sell you because, of course, it's Comic-Con. They're going to sell comics. The way that you described it, and as we walk through just watching the pricing, which is the stuff I want you to talk about because you've actually known about this for a while, is that I thought it was a service. And now...
And you're not wrong. And when it comes to really old comics, you are right, and I don't think that they're wrong for doing it with stuff like in Action Comics #1, with first appearance of Flash or anything like first appearance of Scarecrow. Even it's not a super expensive comic, but it's the kind of thing you might want preserved for time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll get reprinted, that'll get put into collections. Those will be out there in some form. And those are truly very, very old, very, very fragile things. Okay? What's gross... there is some scumminess behind grading comics, but not nearly on the scale that is my new hate project.
Oh, he's got a hate on, folks.
I do. I've got such a rage boner. Honestly, what put it over the top was even my wife, who is, as you know, only on the peripheral of retro game collecting through me, right? She actually does enjoy going to the retro game swap meets and conventions because she kind of likes that thrill of the hunt, like, hey, I'm looking for this thing. Let's find this thing, and let's find it at a good price. She likes that.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows how these retro games are priced. She even kind of knows like what we're looking for, why something is considered good condition versus bad condition. And again, because I'm really into this, knows about how to feel out what a price on something probably is. And we walked by a fucking Slater booth that had Pokemon Red, complete in box, not factory sealed. Complete in box, not factory sealed, but slated, pressed in glass, and rated as like a 9 point whatever. Right? Eduardo, ballpark it for me. You know what a popular franchise Pokemon is. You know about what retro games cost. Slapping a box on that bad boy, which does spike your price up fairly considerably. What are you just, I'm not even asking what you think you should have to pay. What are you willing to pay for an in-box copy of OG Pokemon?
If I'm doing it for a collection, then I would pay, if it was blue, about 300, but if it was red, I'd go up to about 500.
I'm a red guy. I'm with you, and I'm honestly, I'm with you in that pricing ballpark as a fan of the series. Chat saying $0. Don't blame them. It's not a series for everybody. Says the guy with Kingdom Hearts tattoos.
Yeah.
And a critter shirt. Okay, let's not pretend. But I think even correct me if I'm wrong here, chat. But hearing that a franchise that's pretty beloved that you might be into. Complete in-box on Game Boy, couple $100, I think is a fairly reasonable price if you're going for that collection aspect. If you're going to play it, you're not going to buy a complete in-box, you're going to buy it loose, because you're just trying to pop that cartridge in and play it. Now, red version. Let's not talk about a complete in-box price. Let's talk about a sealed price, which I already think is insane and ridiculous. A sealed, factory sealed, never opened in it's plastic.
Virgin State.
$1,800.
Okay.
It's a little much, in my opinion. If I'm talking a complete in-box for $5, for a factory sealed, I'm not looking at double the price. I'm sorry, but no. I'm looking at maybe plus $200. Because that's a copy of a video game that I can't use.
I definitely agree, because at that point, it's what's the value? It's like NFTs.
Right.
Well, not quite.
So
yeah,
you and I are actually fairly on the money for what the price on a complete in-box Pokemon is. It's right in that ballpark. 4, 5, 6, 7, 800, depending on where you go. Right. And yes, retro games do have a wide scale. You could pay $800 and not hate yourself, but no, you got a little ripped off. You could pay like, $500 and know you got it for a pretty decent price. You could pay $200 and know you stole the motherfucker. Slated, pressed in glass, not to be opened, not to be used. Nothing. $36,000 starting bid.
What?
$36,000 starting bid.
Are you kidding?
I don't know how to make this into a funny joke.
Dude, that's a lot of fucking money, especially for a thing you can't fucking use.
Yes.
That you can get for free on an emulator. Not saying you should, but you can.
And here's what's even worse than that. Where I was talking before about an Action Comics issue 1 that is printed on paper, that is, God, that came out in what, 1940 something, 30 something? I don't know. It's old as fuck. Look that up for me, actually, if you would. Action Comics 1. Is it 1 or is it? It's no. Detective 25 Action 1.
Is it Action Comics 1?
I think it's Action 1. I could be wrong. I know it's Detective 24 or 25, and I think it's Action 1.
First appearance of Superman.
Yeah.
1938.
So, that is a piece of paper from 1938. We are cut, loosely, we're coming up on it being 100 years old. That shit is literally history, okay? Pressing it in glass is preservation at this point. Because having it loose, it will get damaged. Let's talk about video games on cartridges. Pretty much, especially when we're talking like NES and later, we're looking at 1987, 88, right in that ballpark?
Uh-huh.
Old, not ancient, 50 years after Action Comics. And here's the thing with cartridge-based video games. It's copper contacts. Throw a little fucking CLR on that bitch, or Bright Boy, polish them sons of bitches up. It's going to continue to work as long as none of the chip components have been fried. No moving parts on those.
Yep.
No really anything, especially on those old NES Game Boy games. The worst that's going to happen as you go a little bit up to certain NES games and SNES games is a little like a CMOS battery, a watch battery that's in there. That could die. You swap that bad boy out, solder a new one in place. That shit works like it's brand new. No issues.
Yeah, cartridges last fucking forever if you take care of them.
Cartridges don't need the preservation that a comic book does. It doesn't need it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to happen to it. So you've essentially taken something that is perfectly usable, a contained thing for presenting history. It's gonna be fine. Grab a Game Boy, keep the solid state, or keep the solid cartridges around so you can emulate it, so you can do something to preserve these games. Pressing it in glass is not the right way to do it, and charging 30x the price is just mind-numbing and gross. I can't do it. I fucking hate slaters. I hate anybody participating in slating. And honestly, I've seen there's like this weird community. It's like, oh, we pool our money together to buy it and rip it out of the slate. And I'm like, they still made money. You fool. What are you doing? You gave them money and said, hey, somebody will pay it. They don't care that you paid it as a joke. Yeah. They just care that you paid it.
They wipe their tears with your money as they go to the bank. Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on our halfway point. Hit me with what we'll each do one more this year Comic-Con highlight, and maybe a low light if you have something you got to get off your chest.
Sure. Okay. Highlights. I honestly had a lot of fun in the Ballroom 20, specifically the Critical Role was a lot of fun, and
Critical was a lot of fun.
Orville was actually.
Orville was a lot of fun.
More fun than I thought it was going to be. I loved watching Seth MacFarlane get annoyed at the fucking moderator. So a quick story. Good. The moderator kept saying things like, well, could you reveal a little something? And stuff like that. And yeah, Seth MacFarlane was unhappy. He was like, did you not hear me? or something like that. It was fun. Low light. Do I have a big low light?
You don't
honestly,
have to. You
I,
don't have to.
my only low light is I'm kind of bummed that Dark Horse didn't show.
That's fair.
So that's a low light. I'm also bummed that the guy who I always stop by, little artist that's got those like caricatures of popular, you know, media figures. So you got like little stormtrooper looking all angry and like his helmet has emotion and little Luke Skywalker and he signs all his cards. That guy,
Sure.
he wasn't there. That
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah,
little
you were.
bummed about that.
I do think I know what happened with that one in particular, though. Like we were telling you, we overheard a conversation with some vendors in November. Like one guy from a vendor booth came over to another vendor booth, and they were like talking shop, and they said to do the November one, you either had to buy a new spot, or you could convert your SDCC spot to the November spot. And the one guy came up and he was like, "Which did you do, dude?" Because he's like, honestly, I wasn't sure I was willing to give up my regular SDCC slot.
Yeah, I mean it's a little. I imagine it's a little tough, and if you give it up, do you get dibs on it next year? Like, how does it work, right?
Well, yeah. If you gave it up, you didn't get dibs next year. It was because I still don't think that they're sure if they're doing this November show. Though I think if they are going to do the November show, it should be popping up pretty soon here. I really liked the November show, but okay. Anyways, I'm distracting. Are those your only two lowlights?
Lowlights, yeah, because everything else was kind of fun. I have one more highlight that
Do it.
it's
Do it.
comic based.
Fucking do it.
There is this artist that takes a really long time to make his comics because what he does is he embeds AR images in them.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
if you read the comic along with the an iPad or anything like that, and you have the app, what it'll actually do is it'll make the comic pages pop up with some images through your phone, right? AR. And then it will also sometimes play sounds and some cool narration for mood. So I thought it was really cool. And years back, I've been going to Comic-Con, we realized this way, 12 years we've gone. And I picked up his first comic when it was very much like, it was an experiment, right? AR hadn't quite made it big. And I thought it was really interesting. And I bought this comic called Anomaly. And I've been waiting. I've visited his booth every single year, and he's had other things. I believe he also did Faster Than Light.
Maybe.
Because he always has at his booth, so I imagine he either did art for it or created it. I'd have to look this up. But anyways, long story short, I stopped by this year, and he had a sequel to it, and it was awesome. Well, and it's $50 for each one of these because it is a huge art book. So, like, yes, it's a comic, but the panels are like this. Each page is this big.
It's bigger
Right?
than his head. For anybody who
Bigger
can't
than
see,
my
it's
head.
bigger than his head.
And that was a highlight. I was very excited for that. I probably spent a little bit more money than I intended on a couple of these things because I hit a couple. Power Rangers had a huge release this year, so like I did a bunch of their exclusives, especially like it got to the point where I dropped so much money at the booth. The guy was like, "Here, have some free Power Ranger comics that we had in the back," and it's actually really cool because one of them it's a like almost watercolor cover. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I just thought it was a cool thing, so they threw that in as well. Anyways, definitely those are the highlights. What about? Give me some more highlights, bud.
Great year for horror stuff, which was big for me. Horror's just kind of big right now in general, and I'm a big horror guy. I got my new Critters shirt because who doesn't need a Critters shirt in their life for that beloved franchise Critters? But yeah, got a few great horror shirts. It's so frustrating to like honestly in my mind, even looking at this giant tower of comics that I bought, kind of considering it a failure year for comics for me because the stuff I was looking for, I found lots of stuff that I needed, but it wasn't the stuff that I was like, that's what I'm gonna swoop up while I'm there. So that sucked a bit. Major lowlights, yeah, probably some of the booths that weren't there. Not seeing Dark Horse there, and oh shit, there was another pretty big one that we usually go. Oh, Oni wasn't there. So
Yeah, I thought you were going to be a lot more upset the whole weekend about that, but you seem to bounce back pretty quick.
Oni doesn't have a lot that I'm reading. Like my couple of Oni series that I'm super into, I'm actually done with. Like
Okay.
I have everything. So it was only going to be if they had something new that looked interesting. You know, one thing that killed me, I resisted the dark side, Eduardo. Gamers out there, be proud of me. As we were doing our lap on Sunday, that you joined us partway through our lap, we were doing our Sunday lap, and we're walking by the Blizzard booth, and Blizzard was doing 20% off all merch on Sunday.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, some Blizzard hoodies might be dope, but I didn't do it. I resisted the call to the dark side, and I did not give Blizzard money because I already know I'm going. I'm look, I'm gonna buy Diablo 4.
Okay, hold on. Can we just make it very clear to the audience, to the YouTube, to everybody? Like, yes, the only way I won't buy Diablo 4 is that if it's free to play. Then I'm just like, I don't know that I like the mechanics of this. But I will say, they're gonna get my money. I've played every single one.
At this point, though,
over.
it is the only game that I will still give them money for. They've burnt the Warcraft series for me, and they don't really have any other series for me that I'm at all interested in. It is only Diablo, and it kills me when I go and buy a Diablo game because their internal practices are disgusting. But I really, really just love those games. I need it in my life. I'm an addict.
For sure. But I did the same thing. We went by that Blizzard booth so many times, and I kept seeing a hoodie that I wanted. Right, it was black with Alliance on the front because I'm also a fucking Warcraft nerd. Not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft.
Sure.
I played the shit out of 2 on the PlayStation 1. That's where I started.
Oh, so you played the worst possible version of it?
Yeah, and then I played 3. Yup. And then I played 3 and it blew my tiny little fucking nerd mind. It was so much better.
It's so much better. 3 is such a good game. That remake deserves the jeers that it got.
But StarCraft has a special place in my heart. StarCraft's one of those series where I just wish they would have done different types of game. I think a Mass Effect style StarCraft would be
Ghost would have been great. There was supposed to be a StarCraft FPS called Ghost that was like halfway developed and never happened.
I thought that it was released and just sucked.
They finally did a version of it years and years later, and it was pretty shit.
It fucking tanked.
But the same problem as Duke Nukem Forever. Can you really say that that's what it was supposed to be?
No.
Like, it got stuck in development hell, and they just whipped out whatever was already done. But 20 years, it was
that
shite.
horse was so fucking dead. Like it was calcium. That's all we got.
All right, do you want to do any more Comic-Con, or do you want to move on to something else? It's your call. If you got another Comic-Con thing you want to talk about.
Okay, let's keep doing Comic-Con. Let's talk about movies.
Oh, shit, we did do movie. Oh, wait, hold on. What's this?
Oh, boy. I don't have any of that stuff here. It's all upstairs in my luggage.
I also got a cookie holder.
And I have a mood-changing cup that changes depending on the temperature of your beverage, which I did not intend to get. All I wanted was a cocktail.
Yeah, we got him. They asked us when we bought him a cocktail. Hey, do you want a souvenir cup? We were like, yeah. Stupid question. Fuck's wrong with you?
That's funny. Why have you to for that?
Anybody who is a fan of the View Askew-niverse, that is Kevin Smith's, specifically his Jay and Silent Bob movies, so like Red State and Tusk aren't a part of it, will be familiar with Moobies. It is the fictional fast food place that Dante and Randall work at in Clerks 2, and was the place that Jay and Silent Bob used the internet at in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And then Dogma, I believe. It's it's sort of their Disney meets McDonald's.
Yes, the evil corporation with a cute-ass mascot running it.
Yeah. So Kevin Smith and some company have been doing Moobies pop-ups where you can go and you can have, you can get your cow tipper on. You can go and grab a Moobies burger and some tots. You had to order in advance.
Yes.
Didn't have to. Apparently, you could go on the day, but it wasn't a guarantee that you'd get in and get anything. And it was not going to be quick. It looked like the people who were showing up on the spot, it looked like they had to wait.
They'd been there a minute.
Yeah. So we pre-ordered everything, kind of walked in, and our food was up within 5-10 minutes at most.
Pretty much.
What did you think? So all of our friends in our D&D group gave us shit for this. All of them gave us shit. They're like, you know it's gonna suck, right? You just spent all this money, and it's gonna fucking suck. So what did you think?
Okay, so first off, what all this money did we spend on it? Because it cost just as much as any other meal at Comic-Con, honestly.
Okay, at Comic-Con, if you're gonna compare it to like a fast food meal, no, it's definitely more expensive than a fast
But
food
even
meal.
at Comic-Con, like those shitty fast foody sit-downy but not really sit-downy grill places,
Yeah.
their prices were super ramped up for Comic-Con. Like everything was more expensive this year. Anyways.
So inflation hit Comic-Con.
Yeah, for sure. So it wasn't that much more expensive, so I don't understand that. However, the burgers tasted good.
I liked it.
It tasted like a double quarter pounder with cheese that happened to also have Big Mac sauce, which just happens to be how I ordered them.
Yeah, it was like it. I enjoyed the burger. I really liked the tots.
Tots were good.
I got onion rings, and onion rings are 50-50, man. Sometimes they get them too bready, crumbly, and it's not good. Most of the time, you bite into it, and the whole fucking onion comes out of the thing. Bro, solid onion rings.
Well,
loved them.
Here's the interesting bit. Even the fucking cookie was delicious.
The cookie was good.
I was so fucking like I don't eat sweets very often like for this anymore, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, this is good.
And I have this I can show. There was also, let me grab it really quick.
Yeah, there was also
right here. There was a Jay and Silent Bob Chronic Con beer.
Yep.
That was actually pretty good. I both my wife and I were like, honestly, for a gimmicky shit beer, it's actually a pretty good fucking beer.
I wonder what it was like, because I'm sure they didn't invent a beer for this.
So it's Society Brewing Company. Here, we'll shout them out right there.
There you go.
They're the ones who did it. I'm sure it's either a take on an IPA that they already did, or it is a rebranding of an IPA. But I'm willing to bet they had an IPA recipe that they kind of tweaked a little bit to do this run. That'd be my bet.
Okay, fair enough. Well, and they also had a merch store, so I picked up, I picked up a jersey that just has movies on it because I just wanted something with the logo, get some merch on it.
And I
but he had a lot more stuff. Yeah.
Yep, swooped up a clerk's hat. Not even supposed to be here today on the back of it. And then I also got just like a real basic ass.
So I got that, but in a jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just got it in the basic bitch hat or basic bitch shirt.
I live up in Tahoe. Long sleeves are appreciated a good chunk of the year.
So yeah, all in all, the movies experience I thought was pretty positive. I was a fan. I was glad we did it. Unfortunately, with how we booked it, we did have to miss out on a couple of shows that I think we were interested in. Not the same one for all of us, but our group was. We were impacted. Our schedule was harmed by having to go do this.
I think each one of us lost out on one thing we wanted to see.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, though. The reason we scheduled movies on the day we did is because every year, pretty much Thursday, is like a maybe two show day.
It was such a weird fucking... Because one of the bigger problems with the Comic-Con, not just the lines, obviously, is that their fucking schedule does not get published until the week before.
Yeah.
So for us to want to schedule pop-ups or even dinners, you can't. It's fucking chaos. You don't know what you're going to do. Sometimes until that day, because if you get into the panel, well, then you're in a panel for X amount of time, or you're in a room for... We literally did an entire work shift all in one room. Because,
8 hours.
I would sneak out to the bathroom and go get hot dogs and shit, just, to get something to eat when you can. But you can only do that when the show is going on. You can't do it in between because they're letting more people in and your seat is not reserved.
Yep.
So, yeah, that kind of thing. Dude,
But Thursday was
hard to
off
schedule.
the hook. Thursday was one of the best days this year.
And Saturday, or not Saturday, Friday was
Friday sucked.
fucking worst.
Yeah. Friday we had a couple panels that we hit because we were like, oh, I guess it'll be fun. And
Yeah.
then they were okay. There was nothing wrong with the panels we hit, but it was not Friday programming.
Yeah, even Thursday morning, like first thing, we got into the panel where we wanted to be, and it was a little less impressive than I would have liked, but whatever. It just seemed like the one of the presenters, he had the right idea, but I think he forgot what it was like to be new in the industry. You know, because
we walked out of that, and my wife went, I think I got more out of that panel than you guys did.
Yeah. I don't know. He was also like, he was mean. No, he wasn't. He was just kind of a dick.
So
honest.
tell me a little bit about the floor. What did you see on the floor this year that was kind of new and exciting?
Ooh, new and exciting is a little tough because I was just annoyed at some of the bigger booths because it was
okay. Tell me about that.
Well, it was all about display and it not so much about buy, right? Like,
see, I actually feel the opposite. This year, in my opinion, more big booths had stuff for sale than the last couple of years that you and I went. Those big booths have been display. This was the first year that Marvel was actually selling stuff.
Yeah, so Marvel was selling not just comics, but merch.
Lucas is always selling stuff, but they sacrifice. Remember, usually there's that giant screen that is like only used for playing snippets, and then the floor is just lined with bullshit.
Yeah.
They still had the screen, but the space was used better, and it looked like there was more merch available from Lucas.
Okay.
And then I think, for me, the addition of the Disney Plus, the Netflix, and the Paramount Plus booths, all of those were selling merch, where before those were like Fox booth, ABC booth, and those were always like, oh, walk up and grab a stack of posters.
I'm pissed off at them because I showed up to a fucking booth and they told me to order it online.
That was Hulu booth, and yes, that honestly, I think their stock didn't come in time. That's my bet.
It's got to be something, but it was just, I showed up and they're like, yeah, here, have this card. It's exclusive to Comic-Con, but you got to use this code. I'm like, okay. It came in. I don't hate it. It's cool. Because I ordered it because I'm a fucking nerd. Don't judge me. I can still be mad about it.
The other three all had the merch right there. Netflix had it right there. Disney Plus had it right there.
Oh, did they actually have it?
Yes.
Okay, because I was like, you sit on a throne of lies.
Hulu was the only one, when you walked up, they're like, yeah, so here's all of our merch. Just use your phone and order that online. Okay. Cool.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be delivered right away. I'm like, awesome. Yeah, great. I was surprised, though. What is it? The Neopets booth?
The Tamagotchi booth?
Tamagotchi, sorry, not Neopets, but Tamagotchi booth.
Because there was a Neopets booth.
Which one did I end up at?
You ended up at Tamagotchi.
That one. I was actually
that was a new one.
Yeah, I was also surprised because they had like con exclusive pets that they're like, yeah, we only released them here, and they've been doing it at other conventions. I was like, really, this is cool. There were some really cool other partnerships. I picked up two. I picked up a little baby R2D2 and a little baby dinosaur egg that we're gonna hatch into a real dinosaur.
And the Kingdom Hearts ones weren't out yet, right?
No, not out yet. But keep an eye out because I have a feeling you're gonna want to scoop one up. Why not? It takes like 30 seconds and an hour to just feed them and shit. It's cool.
I'll probably never turn it on.
Oh, it'll just be a collectible. That's fair.
Yeah.
You and I are whores like that for certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a pleasant surprise. I thought I felt there were a lot more independent booths this year.
Okay.
That area seemed bigger.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if that's what they ended up doing, because usually you have that like back, I guess if you're facing from the city towards the harbor, that back right area that's usually just all indie stuff.
Yeah.
This time I felt like it also expanded into the center column. There were a lot of indie comics booths that we would pass by and see. Like there was that whole like vampire one.
Yep.
And I thought it was honestly good to see. There was a lot more comics at Comic-Con than other years.
There were, yeah. This actually was a decent year for comics, but man, I really wish you'd gone to that November one. That November one had comics, bro.
Oh man, always telling me the things that I missed. I'm kidding. No. Now I have to go to Roseville Comic Con, even though I'm not invited. I'll just meet you there.
Rose City Comic Con, because
Whatever.
Roseville Comic Con would be a very different convention.
I guess it depends. I'm sure there's a Roseville in every state.
Okay. The one I know is in Northern California.
Is that technically considered northern?
Roseville, yeah.
Yeah,
It's by Sac. It's
kinda,
north of Sac.
it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I've been.
Yeah, it's not special. Man, what else? What else was an interesting thing we saw this year? Surprising amount of cosplays. The funniest one I saw was not funny for a good reason. There was a lady who dressed herself up as a Barbie in a box. And for a mandatory masked event, and I'm not saying my opinions on it one way or the other, I'm just saying it was, that's what it was. For a mandatory masked event, I thought to myself, when I saw it from afar, I went, what a great way to, like, you know, keep the mask, because it rubs on my nose all day, and I'm not complaining. I wore it all day. I didn't have a problem.
Same.
I'm not that guy. But it rubs on my nose, and it shapes my nose out. There was a lady dressed as Barbie in a box, which has a plastic front, and I was like, oh, big plastic front. You probably wouldn't need to wear a mask because big plastic front. She cut a hole in the big plastic front for her face and then just didn't wear a mask either.
Ugh.
I was like, you had such an easy out for this and you didn't take it.
Yeah.
We woke up and chose violence.
Yeah, some fucking people. There were some pretty cool ones. There was a Master Chief that, like, the guy must have been tall. Because he was, like, movie status. He was a big fella.
Yeah.
Very authentic looking armor. I thought that was really cool. A lot less Mass Effect costumes than normal. They're
a lot of people really working their masks in gracefully though. Like most of the masks I saw really worked with the cosplays. None
like
of it
if you're
felt
already gonna have to wear a fucking mask, why not just do that, right?
Right. Why not just go for it?
Yeah. So the cosplay was good. A little boom bummed that the normal torpedo. Is it Torpedo?
Yeah.
Didn't show up because I have specific series and I wanted to pick up some more Hellblazer.
Yeah.
Which I did pick up some at random booths. It was so weird. Both you and I found stuff we were looking for at those random booths that just happened to have trades versus this is a comic store. They usually have other bullshit and then like a couple boxes of trades.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But we found a lot of stuff. I bought a lot of T-shirts, only one hoodie. I think both your wife and I were kind of over that company. I won't say its name, but it's their products don't last as much as they used to.
Oh, mine last, but the cuts have been funny on the last couple.
Also,
yeah.
So I've stopped going there as well. I also resisted the dark side, also known as the little pop figures.
Yeah, holy, those things were popping this year.
Dude, they had an entire corner of the floor. Can you believe
they
that?
built facades, bro.
Yeah, they did. This was some Vegas style vanity shit, dude. Like,
for real.
When you go inside of a mall in Vegas, one of them, it's all like, it's indoors but outdoors. It's got facades of buildings, and you're walking down this lovely street. They have projectors projecting a blue sky and doing some weird light effects where it feels like you're at a version of outside, like at Twilight. It is cool, but they did that at Comic-Con.
So
Pop
it was
making so much fucking money.
Pop, Loungefly, and Mondo all did this. And
Yeah.
I don't know if those companies are all owned by the same parent company. I would imagine, since they all had this weird
Santa's
downtown
Village?
city feel. Yeah, like a Santa's Village
It was
in the
weird.
back of Comic-Con. It was very strange. Luckily, I'm not a huge fan. Like, I have a couple pop figures that people have gotten for me. They're cool. I don't hate them or anything, but I'm not a huge collector of them or anything.
I collect the shit out of them, but I've got no more room to put them. They're so fucking big.
Yeah. So it was nice to be able to kind of skip that half of the building for me. You know, that's some real estate I got to go, yeah, I don't need to walk this.
Yeah.
Speaking of walking through Comic-Con, the crowd, much lighter this year.
Not just walking the floor, also in the panels.
All in all, it was a much lighter year.
How much of that do you think it's people didn't want to travel with the craziness, And how much do you
Well,
think is they split the audience?
here's what I think is you had the people on the extremes of both sides. Because I saw plenty of it from people in like the Comic Con chats and forums and Facebook groups and whatever. And honestly, most of these people have probably never even been to the convention. But
Yeah.
you have the extreme side of they wanted us to vaccine check and wear masks. Fuck them, I'm not going. And then you had the extreme other side of it's still not safe. How dare they try and hold a convention right now? There's still a plague outside. I'm not going. So there's both of your extremes. Let's chop them off. You've had to hold on to this ticket for 3 years.
Yes, I have.
Let's just face the fact that some of those people may have died, may have gotten injured, may have had plans changed.
Or ask
so
for
there's
a refund.
I'm not even there yet. So let's take that chunk of people off. This was a year for the last couple of years. They have been offering a refund because of COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine not zero people took them up on that. And those tickets that were refunded did not go back up for sale in a general sale. They went up for auction on eBay, and only a limited number of them. And you were also able to swap your ticket for the event in November. That wasn't just for vendors. Attendees could swap their ticket for November.
Yeah.
Now, my wife and I bought tickets for November, but I'm sure, again, it was not a zero amount of people who swapped their ticket for the smaller November con. So they kind of just had lots of little sectors of people that lost numbers that all built up to, and I'm not going to be like, it was empty. No, it was still crowded as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
But it was noticeably less crowded than previous. It was honestly probably closer to what it was the first year that we went. Where it was like just before it really popped off and started becoming super popular. I think we lucked out and went a year, maybe 2 years before like people really started treating it like a big.
Yeah,
big
we were there before it was cool, is what we're trying to say. Let's just put that out there again.
Definitely not like the OGs who've been going since it was held in a hotel lobby.
For sure.
Definitely, definitely not like it had been for what a lot of people talk about old school Comic-Con feel. But for us, going 12 years, we've seen the con change a lot. And during it, like I think we were probably there for its peak. And I don't know if this is a sign that it's hit its peak and it's going back down. If this is just a sign of like COVID in the times.
So I honestly think
next year. I don't know.
I think it depends on how things develop in general, just with everything happening, without bringing the audience down. But no,
sad now.
Sad. No, I think there will be some recovery. It just depends on what all goes on, because anything could change. It's a con. It's a fun event that only certain folks can already go to, and if the world gets really funky, even less people are going to be able to. So
yeah, fair.
There's that. I enjoyed it though. It was nice to be able to go back to the con. It always has a special place in my heart for sure.
Oh yeah.
I felt a lot older this year because like we used to be able to do the con, go drink, party out late, and then be all spring chickens and right back. And this year there was a lot less of that. There was a lot more. We walked a lot more for sure.
Yep.
Because we made it a point to, right?
Yep.
Here we are adulting. But still, I was just tired a lot.
Well, it doesn't help. We pretty much go out and drink every night now, where when we first started going, all of us couldn't go out and drink.
Oh, no, that's right, because we couldn't afford it.
We weren't all 21 either.
How old? I don't.
The first year we went, we were not, because this is the 12th year we've gone, but you also have to add on 3 more years.
Yeah.
Because of COVID. 2 more years, 3 more years, whatever it is. So it's closer to 15 years that we've been going to Comic-Con.
Yeah. So I understand. I probably was like 19, 20 when we first started going. So those first 2 years we probably couldn't unless we could get one of our friends or whatever. And
I think you were the first one in the group who could buy beer. You're the oldest of the group that goes.
We do have one friend that I'm not going to dime out here on a live podcast, but he could hook it up. He's good.
Oh, but he didn't go. Did he go with us one year?
I don't remember. So the problem is he's been to some of the events, but I don't remember which ones he ended up going with us to.
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember sharing a room with him, so probably not. At 1 year, we all shared rooms.
Oh, more than 1 year.
Yeah. Well, I think the amount of people that went started dwindling just because people started to get thrust into the real world, and we got real jobs, so we kept going.
Yeah.
Yep.
We might have one more for next year, though. I got a coworker who really wants to go.
I have a couple of folks who swear to God that they're gonna get tickets, and I'm like, we got a system. It's been working for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's only been 1 year where nobody got in.
Not yet. I have
Oh.
not missed a year that I didn't like have to miss because of something like COVID.
Fair enough. No. All right. Cool. On that note, I think we're right here at the end. We've talked. This is a Comic-Con episode, which we
We did it.
expected, but I wish I would have prepped a lot more pictures because I did take some, mostly of me doing
It's all
stupid
dick
shit.
pics.
You know what? Nobody wants to see that.
I agree. As somebody who's seen it, no I'm kidding. All right, play us out.
Close. But all right, check us out. Monday nights in 5D podcast on YouTube. We are here 7 to 8 Pacific. Tuesdays nights, twitch.tv/metagame network. It's actually going to be a good one. It's a multiplayer night, and one of our folk that hasn't been able to jump on just because life happens, will be able to jump on and play with us. Probably going to do some Killing Floor Tour or some other shenanigans. That's Tuesdays, 7 to 9 Pacific. All right, final words, Bonsai.
Melon balls.
Melon Ballers.
All right.
What? Bye.
Bye.